Hello Internet, I'm Latika and this is the last part of my beginner's guide to League of Legends. In part 1 we went through how to run the game, and in part 2 we went through a co-op versus AI game and learned some stats and the items for champions of League of Legends. If you missed these two parts, they will be in the description. In this episode we will take a look at the PvP.net client itself. And this is the PvP client itself right here. And if you get lost at any time during the tutorial, just go ahead and hit the Return to Game Lobby button up here, which is symboled by this League of Legends icon. So the first thing we could take a look at is actually how to join the game and the different types of games we can join. So go ahead and hit play up here. Now we went through a co-op versus AI game on Summoner's Rift on the beginner difficulty last video. You also have another difficulty when you feel like you've mastered the beginner difficulty. We also can play on Dominion, which is a different kind of game mode where we capture nodes in order to destroy the Nexus instead of actually pushing down lanes. We also have PvP, which is instead of being up against bots, we go up against other live players. We're still paired with other humans, but we go up against humans as well. Now, there's Summoner's Rift for PvP, which is what we played on in our co-op versus AI game, and there's 4 different choices for Summoner's Rift in Classic. You have the normal blind pick, which is kind of like we did in the co-op versus AI, where we didn't know what the enemy's champions were going to be, but we could pick any champion we wanted to as long as it wasn't already taken on our team. In draft pick, you take turns, your team and the other team, on banning and picking enemy champions to try to counter each other and have a more in-depth gameplay. In draft pick, you only can have one of each champion. Now you have ranked solo duo draft pick, which will be a ranked game which your stats will be recorded and you'll have a personal score called an ELO, which will be associated with your account, and it'll compare you to the rest of the other player base. Now, ranked solo duo, you either could go in by yourself or with somebody else. In ranked teams, you have to have a team of 5, and you can create the team with its name under your profile, and we'll look at that later. And then you also have Dominion, which is the other game mode which I talked about earlier, but you'll be playing up against other people where you capture and hold nodes in order to win the game. You have blind pick and draft pick for that as well. Let's go ahead and look at custom games. Now, custom games are neat because you're not matched up against opponents that you don't know who they are ahead of time. So if you have more than 5 friends and you want to all play together, you can go ahead and create a custom game in order to play with all 10 of you if you have 10 people, and then you can kind of have a fun in-house where you know the entire team. So we can go ahead and take a look at that real quick. When we hit create game, we can choose what map we want. There's these 4, and the Proving Grounds is a all random, all middle map, and that won't be discussed in this video. But we know Summoner's Rift, the 5v5 map where we go and push lanes to take down a Nexus. The Twisted Tree Line, which is the 3v3 map where we push lanes to take down the Nexus, and then Crystal Scar, which is the map where we capture nodes in order to destroy the Nexus. And here's a list of names. Here's a list of the games that people are currently hosting. So let's go back. Let's explore some of the other features we have on PvP.net. Down here you can see our friends list where we have all our online friends, and then you can see a list of offline friends. And you also have a cool feature called Recently Played. Now in the Recently Played tab we have all these people that we just played with in our co-op versus AI game. Now we can go ahead and take a look at their profile and their runes and mastery setup. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Master Yi's profile. Or actually he was AFK. Let's look at the Teemo's profile. Here we can see his rank stats, his normal stats, the teams he's currently on, and he's on one called something. And then we can look at the history of his rank team, and then the statistics of his rank team. Cool. Let's go back to him in particular, and we can look at his match history. Now this is the co-op versus AI game we played with him, and it's his last game played. We could take a look at his rune setup, and it will typically be on the one where he just played. So let's go ahead and look at his masteries that he played with us. This is what he was currently using, and then he has all the spells unlocked. Now the achievement tab while making this video currently isn't open yet. So let's go ahead and take a look at our profile. This is my profile, and this is the list of teams I'm currently on. And this is my rank stats for Season 2. This is my current rating in solo queue. This is my highest ranked team, and this is my top rating for both of them. Here's my most played champions and the % wins I have with them, and then we could go ahead and take a look at that in more in depth on the rank stats page. Now this will not be available to you unless you're level 30, so I'm going to go ahead and skip this since this is a beginner's guide. We can take a look at our match history, which is the co-op versus AI game that we just played. We can take a look at all the statistics from here. It's not as detailed as the report we looked at in the previous video, but it still gives us a good idea of how we did in that game. Now we can look at the champions the champions we currently own. If they're grayed out, it's champions we don't have, and if they're lit up, it's champions we do own. Now, I really recommend using this page as a new player a lot before you play a new champion to kind of learn what kind of role they do play. Now, we can go ahead and say, let's say I want to play a ranged damage next, ranged carry. So this is going to be our ranged damage dealers. Let's say I'm interested in playing a ranged damage dealer next game. Now, I've never played Ezreal before, but let's say Vayne. I've never played Vayne before, but she is free this week. So let's go ahead and see what kind of attributes she has. Now we can look here and see all the different stats that our Riot already provides us. Now we do know she's a ranged damage from the previous screen. Here we have a really nice overview of her abilities. You can watch these in your own time. Here's the lore associated with the character if you're interested in that stuff. And here's some tips and items that they recommend as well. Let's go back. Let's go ahead and explore the store. Now you have two different types of currency in this game, and now that we've earned some IP from a co-op versus an AI game, and if you've played several more, you can look and see if you could purchase anything. Now the first thing you'll probably be looking forward to purchasing is a champion in League of Legends. And to do that, you simply need to click on champions, and you go to this screen here. Now let's say I want to purchase Darius. All I have to do is click unlock. And since I have enough influence points from playing enough games, I can unlock them with either influence points or ride points if I choose to purchase some ride points. Now, League of Legends is a game that survives on microtransactions, so what they do is they make custom skins in order to customize your favorite characters to play. So here, if you purchase ride points, you can get a reskin for some of your favorite champions. Here's the rune page. Where you can buy different types of runes. Now, when you're level 1, you don't have a lot of rune slots, and I'll go ahead and show that in the profile as soon as we look through this. There are 3 different types of runes. We have marks, which are mostly associated with aggressive play. Glyphs, which are mostly associated with utility. Seal, which are typically used for defense, and quintessences, which can be used for any specialization you like. Now, there are 3 different tiers of runes. Now, as a kind of a tip, I recommend you stay away from tier 2 runes, and as a new player, I recommend only purchasing tier 1 runes because they're very cheap. But once you become to the highest levels of play and you're at level 30, I recommend only getting tier 3 runes and skipping tier 2 runes altogether. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our rune page in our profile. Here's my caster page where I selected, and you can see the overview of all the stats I have here. I can substitute all of my runes out, and all I have to do is just right click to remove a rune, and then right click to put it and whatever rune I want back in there. Now I can go ahead and save the changes I've made, even though I've made no changes, and I have 11 rune pages currently unlocked. Now let's look at the mastery page. I already covered this a little bit in the other video, but you can also change your masteries outside of the game lobby, and you could do that simply by adding a new mastery page. And then we can go ahead and name this tutorial. And the mastery page works like this. First, you have to have a certain points in the first tier. So let's say I'm making a defensive tank page. And first thing I'm going to want is some armor and some magic resist. And now that I put enough points into the defense tree, I can go ahead and unlock some of these points here. This one gives me health per level, so let's go ahead and take some of that. So now when my champion is level 30 or 18, he'll have an extra 108 HP. And then let's go ahead and take Veteran Scars, which gives me some more HP. And let's see what else we'd like to take. This one reduces the incoming damage taken, so let's go ahead and take some of this points. Let's go ahead and take some of the movements. Let's get a movement speed increase. This one reduces the armor of nearby enemy turrets, so that one looks good. And we could take some more here. And then the ultimate ability in this tree will be Juggernaut, which will increase our maximum health by 3%, and it'll give us a kind of a tenacity effect. And then let's say we want if we're going to play a tanky, but we also want to be doing some damage. So let's go ahead and take some damage in here. And then take this, which will improve some of our summoner abilities that we choose to take with us. And then we'll go ahead and increase some attack speed and take some armor penetration. So that's how the mastery tree works. So we'll go ahead and save our masteries, and now we have a new, and it'll give us a saying that masteries are saved successfully. The last thing I want to cover here, is if we go back to the front page, is the options, where we can turn off the language filter or enable friend notifications. And then we have volume options here. So that should cover pvp.net as well, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and please let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.